You're listening to the Listing a Week podcast, a podcast that teaches real estate agents how to generate a listing a week and grow their business. My name is Todd Tramonte, and I'm a Dallas, Texas-based real estate broker, author, radio host, team leader, and real estate coach. And I'm sitting down with my team of agents to talk about how they generate a listing a week or more, the lessons they've learned, and how they differentiate in a noisy real estate industry, and how you can too. Welcome to our super makeshift studios here for the Listing a Week podcast. We have moved buildings and are building out a brand new radio and podcast studio in our new space, which is that way on the other side of that wall. But we're jammed in here today, and we'll get a Listing a Week podcast to you one way or the other. We've got the one and only Jeremy Payne with us.
Buenos dias.
You have
Mike
to lean in a little bit, Jeremy.
Mike Scher. We also have Ian Daniels, pronounced Jan Daniels, if you want to get it right.
It's the Scandinavian way.
And we won't refer to it completely, but we did just have an entire pre-show argument on Scandinavian countries and the definition of peninsula. So you can feel free to join us in the comment section below on that one if you'd like. But want to get back to the topic of listing a week. If you tune in regularly, you know that is our topic every time. And anything around the idea of a listing a week. Really, this comes out of our core training for our team members and brokerage agents, which obviously we have expanded to coaching and consulting clients all over the country. But really, we're not talking about coaching and consulting as much as we are simply talking about how to get a listing a week, how to manage having a listing a week, how to deliver world-class value to those clients. What does a listing a week mean in regard to, do you really want 52 per year? Are you already taking 30 or 40 and you'd like to add a listing a week? Or does this philosophy of a listing a week simply mean to you to get as many listings as you would like to have? What I want to talk about today, which is a topic we've really never covered, is, how many is too many? And there may not be a specific number for you of listings that truly are too many, but we've got Jeremy here with us today, and it's early 2020, very early, first week of January here as we're recording this. And our team really dug into goal setting late October, early November in regard to 2020. And of course, we've been fleshing that out and getting the initial part of the year going. Right at this point, we're almost 10% of the way through the year. If you do the math on the actual production year, it's 30 to 40 days, prior to the actual calendar year. But the point I want to make is last year, Jeremy, was basically your first year as a listing agent, marketing specialist. You started late 2018. So 2019 was pretty much your first full year. And even in the beginning of the year, you still had a buyer client or two left over, right? So it'd be a great kind of just observation for you to talk quickly just about kind of the first year, because you were able to take more than a listing a week, and how that kind of fleshed out. We don't have to dig deep into the numbers. You can share whatever you want, but kind of how that felt, and then how that motivated you to set goals for this year. And then I think that's where we can sit for 10, 15, 20 minutes about how much is too much, how much is not enough, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think what I quickly found out was that the opportunity was there when you follow the system, when you do the things that you need to do. At first, I felt like I was drinking out of a fire hydrant, right? I wanted as many listings as I could get, and there were times where I would sign 7 or 8 in a week, and then there were times that I would take a week or two off. And I think we've reiterated this multiple times, but the system is not one every single week of the year. It's sometimes you're going to have 3 or 4, sometimes you're going to only have 1, sometimes you might have a week off and have a vacation or something. And so what I learned that first year was that based on how I prospect, based on how I implement the system that we've put together, I can turn up and turn down that number so that ultimately I can set the goals that I want. And my goal isn't necessarily 52 closings a year or whatever. I happened to hit almost that exact number this last year in 2019. But it really, the system allows me to take vacations when I want, to choose what I want to do. And there were times, especially early on, I think, I felt like I was at max capacity, and there was times that I was where I just had so much going on that I had to kind of stop and say, all right, let me get these clients taken care of. Let me spend a couple days a week, whatever, not adding new business, so that I can make sure and actually provide world-class service.
Let me ask you a question about that. There were times that you maybe even went past max, right? So how do you evaluate that, and how do you what changes do you make to allow you to be able to take great care of clients?
Yeah, a lot of that comes from just when we're looking at the time in the day, when I'm prepping and going to listing consultations or marketing consultations for most of my day, and I do that multiple times a week, which is a regular occurrence. That forces me to take a little bit of natural time away from building into my clients. And so what happens is it's with our team set up and with the skill sets that I've put together, I'm able to do both pretty regularly. But there are times where I've got 6 appointments in 5 days, or 4 appointments in 3 days. This next week I've got 5 consultations in 3 days. And so there's going to be some prep time that has to go into those. And then there's obviously the time together with those clients. And so what happens is I've had to learn to take care of my other clients, the 15, 20, 30 clients that I've got at a time, in unusual ways, or in times that might not be, putting out the fire when it arises, right? Kind of doing some preemptive work for them. And so, having to just kind of reallocate the schedule has really helped. But what I've realized is when I am not able to take care of my clients and I'm not able to follow up with a showing or some feedback that I get on one of my listings within a few hours or within a day, I realize, all right, I need to spend some more time, because again, we've always talked about this. I don't want to be somebody that signs 80 listings a year but can't actually get anything sold because I'm not spending the time needed to actually market my properties and do that. And so that's kind of my indicators. When I'm not doing what I need to do for my active clients, I want to either get better, find some ways to incorporate my team, or stop and get done what needs to be done, so that I can then get back to signing new clients.
Well, you just touched on it at the very, very end, and I'm going to expand on it a little bit, and Todd, I'd love to hear your thoughts too. But we've always had the listing a week program and the buyer a week program, which is relatively new. But we've recently started talking more and more about the don't go it alone system, right? And so you touched on it very, very briefly when you said, I need to use my team more. And I think that's an area that everyone can relate to, and it's also an area that's probably one of the biggest struggles for people, right?
It's hard.
Is to let go of some of those things, to be able to ask somebody else to jump in and take a piece over for me, or to just help me alongside it. But by being able to leverage team members, if you're on a team, or if you're not on a team, either bringing in some part-time help or doing something, asking somebody to help you out, swapping with agents, whatever that looks like, is really, really important to figure that piece out, to be able to create more bandwidth as well.
Yeah, and for the listeners out there, I know you guys know this. This has been a big growing point for me in the last several months, and even actively having good conversations around this, because again, I'm still just at about a year of doing this only, and doing it, at a level that is not anywhere I'd been before. It's what I feel is a high level, and so I by no means have all the answers, but I've seen a lot of success when I'm able to do it properly, and I think it's a huge piece for anyone listening out there to really be able to increase your capacity, which is going to allow you to take a listing a week.
Well, and that's the ultimate point I wanted to make here, is your goals for this year are not 100% bigger than your goals for last year, because you were able to establish early that you can get, let's be respectful of people, generally as many listings as you want, right? Theoretically, we always all want more, right? But if they were all the right price point and they were all the right type of client, then a day may come where you sell 60 listings this year and you want to sell 60 again next year, or you want to go back down to 50. You want to work on your average sale price, or you want to work on your average commission rate, or your net profit, or whatever the case may be. But I think a point that very few people see coming, now obviously a lot of people never get there, but a lot of people do, but they don't see it coming, is there's a point where they feel compelled for their goal to always be more, bigger numbers. And a system like this can allow you to kind of arrive at a place where more isn't necessarily better, or where you have arrived at the number that is too much for you, and you can back off of that a little bit, and that number that you land on is still a really great number, like 40 listings a year, 50 or 60, or for you it might be 20. It totally depends on your workload, the amount of help you have, the market you're in, the price point of homes you sell. I mean, I know I've got private coaching clients that are the number one agents in their market selling 27 or 28 houses, which is that's no slouch. But obviously we know people that sell 100 plus homes, solo agent with some administrative help and things. And that you're just comparing apples to dump trucks. It's not the same thing. So my point is this. I do this whole training on what you call eustress, EUSTRESS, like healthy stress, and finding your maximum capacity that's comfortable, and finding the point where you've kind of gotten out ahead of yourself. And we've talked about that on the show before, but what you were able to do in year one is kind of reach a ceiling, grow that muscle, find a new ceiling, grow that muscle, find a ceiling, and then sort of say, all right, here's what I want for next year. Not necessarily more closed units, but I'd like there to be a little bit more income, and I'd like there to be a little bit more efficiency and structure and order to life. And I think that's wonderful. And that's kind of the point I want to make here, is finding this system will allow you to find a point that's probably too much. Now, that might be it's too much for you, so you go hire some help, like Ian was saying, or too much for you, so you start to share with other team members, and so you kind of cherry pick the ones you want, and you hand off lower price points or places that are a little further from the office or the house or whatever. But the point I want to make with this episode is that you can definitely get to a place where you don't necessarily want more listings, more buyers, more closings. That sounds crazy, but it's totally doable, and it's actually a really great place to be.
There's also different types of listings, right? So let's just not even think about price point and location and things like that, but there's high stress listings, and there's non-high stress listings, easier listings, right? So as we're focusing on who's my ideal client and wanting to take exceptional care of clients, those are going to refer people that are more than likely going to be like them. And so you could say, hey, I want to do 40 listings next year. I did 40 this year, but you may have way less stress in your life because of the type of listing.
We all know if you have 40 marketing-driven, cynical, not totally bought-in clients, that's going to feel one way. If you had 40 raving fan personal referrals, those are going to feel another way. And the difference is you could probably do 60 raving fan referral clients with the same amount of time and energy and focus of the 40 half decent or worse clients. A lot of times we think about, I'd rather do 40 at 500 than 80 at 250. Well, that's easy math, right? But to say I'd rather do the things necessary to have the 40 high quality, high trust repeat referral clients versus just keep grinding for the 80, internet lead generated or expired FSBO prospecting generated. It's worth thinking about what's your maximum number. That you don't have to have a hard max, but what's the number where you need to start really considering client quality, transactional value, your sanity, your peace of mind, because the right listing system, the right buyer system can allow you to discover that number for you. For a lot of people, once you start to exceed what you can do, it's showing assistant, it's personal assistant, it's team building, it's being on a team where then you can top grade and hand off your less desirable stuff to somebody else. So whether you're a team leader, a broker, a team member, a solo agent, or what, to Ian's point, you don't have to be on a team. You might be an individual agent that has a virtual transaction coordinator, or another agent that does some showings for you, or whatever. Someone you refer some buyer deals to, something like that. The point is, if you'll allow yourself to believe it and follow a great system, you can reach a point where more deals is not the most important thing to you. And then that might change year over year, where you say, look, last year 24 deals was really stressful. and this year 24 deals was really manageable, and so you grow your ability so that number can change. But I just think a lot of people at first glance will not even believe what we're saying. And then after having experienced the benefit of a really great system, structure, scripts, dialogue, step-by-step strategy, all those things, it's a matter of implementation. It's a matter of do you actually follow the process and put in the work every day? I will add one more thought, and then I'll hand it off and we'll wrap it up. But when we say follow the process every day or listing a week, that means the vast majority of the time. There are going to be the days where you're like, look, I have 3 appointments today. I can't get the prospecting in. But there are also going to be days where you don't have any appointments. Are you going to make up for it on those days and double up on some prospecting? Or are you going to be inconsistent in your results because you were inconsistent in your activity and your behavior? It's okay to say a listing a week to me really means I want to work 45 weeks this year. I want 45 listings. I know it's not going to be one per week for 45 weeks. There's going to be the 2s and the 3s and occasional 0s. There's going to be the days where I have too many appointments to prospect. Then there's going to be days where I don't have any appointments, so I prospect like crazy. You got to understand you're managing that imbalance to create overall balance so you can achieve your goals and someday discover a really happy, comfortable max kind of cap limit for yourself too.
Yeah, and it's just comes simply down to calendaring your time out, right? You've got to set up time to do each of these things because it's not going to happen if you just hope it happens or say I'd like to, but don't have any implementation. You don't have any accountability or anything along the way. And so you've got to have a system, make a system work for you. Do research, find out something, check out ours, right? There's it doesn't matter how you do it. You just have to do the work, right? Action is better than being perfect. And so do something, do it over and over, get better at it, and be consistent, right? I think that's the easiest way to make sure you're...
Yeah, and if you're looking for a system to repeat, obviously we have one we'd love to offer you. There's some free information about our Listing a Week system online at alistingaweek.com, the letter A, listingaweek.com. And there's a free video series where I interviewed 7 key industry leaders about what they would do to generate a listing a week. And then if you'd like to, there's some paid stuff there as well, of course. We have an online module training course. We have in-person 2-day incubator trainings here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then we have Listing a Week course, Buyer a Week course. The 7-figure agent course actually includes Listing a Week and Buyer a Week, plus the Don't Go It Alone course that Ian was talking about.
What?
We only offer that in the 7-figure agent course. We have group coaching. We have mastermind. We've got a bunch of stuff going on. No pressure on any of that. If you're not ready, go check out the free stuff at alistingaweek.com, where you can find out kind of all the things happening in our world online at realestategrowthsystems.com, realestategrowthsystems.com. If you haven't subscribed yet to the podcast, definitely do that. Download each one, check them out online, share with friends, and then if you're on YouTube, like it, share it, all that good stuff too. The more we get feedback, the more we get comments, the more we get questions from you, the better stuff we can share with you on how you can go grab a listing a week in your business, and we'll be thrilled to hear back from you when you do. So go find your maximum number, find the comfortable, incredible, life-changing goal for you, and let us help you hit it. We'll be thrilled to be a part of that for you. And we'll talk to you very soon.
If you have a topic that you want us to talk about,
we can do that
drop it in the comments. Let us know.
Cheerio.
Ciao.
Peninsula.